Remember everyone, masks work.
The research proves that COVID is airborne.
Go on with your research until you find out that masks are useless against a virus. It's like you protect yourself from mosquitoes with a wooden fence. Good luck.
Let's bust one of the most common myths that I see about masks. And to be clear here, I'm not talking about surgical masks or cloth masks. I'm talking about the good stuff, your N95s, KN95s, FFP2s, and more, which I'm going to refer to from now on as respirators. This guy is repeating the idea that because a virus is smaller than the gaps between fibers in a respirator, that a respirator must be functionally worthless. And this might seem intuitive because it's true, a virus is smaller than the gaps in a respirator. However, it turns out physics is not always intuitive. Much of the science that explains how these things work has really only been figured out in the last 100 years or so. So don't feel bad if you're not up to date with the last century of molecular physics.
Let's get physical.
So first of all, yes, the virus is very small, about 60 to 140 nanometers. A nanometer is 1/1000th of a meter. However, the virus is not floating in the air on its own. It hitches a ride out of an infected person on respiratory aerosols, those bits of moisture that come out with every exhale, which can be anywhere from 0.1 up to 100 microns in size. A micron is 1/1000th of a meter, aka 1,000 nanometers. And before someone tells me that aerosols are exclusively 5 microns and under, please read the article, please read the article, please read the article. Now, the average pore diameter, or gap in the material of an N95 mask, is 30 microns.
I told you I was right. If most respiratory aerosols are under 5 microns and the gaps in a respirator are 30 microns, then the aerosols are just going to go through.
Slow down, I still haven't gotten to the physics.
Let's get physical.
A respirator is not like a sieve. A sieve lets through all particles under but not above a certain size. A respirator is more like a sticky maze made up of many interlocking layers of super tiny plastic fibers. It's actually best at blocking particles above and below a certain size. That size, where it's most difficult to block the particles, is around 0.3 microns. An N95 mask reliably blocks 95% of particles at this size. They actually name the mask based on how well it blocks the trickiest particles. Luckily, most respiratory aerosols are actually bigger than that, so they're being blocked with more than 95% effectiveness. Yay!
You still haven't told me how it works.
Okay, now I will. At this point, I'm relying a lot on the excellent work of MinutePhysics on YouTube. Please go watch his video if you want to learn about this in more detail.
Let's get physical.
At a microscopic scale, everything is sticky. The van der Waals force means that
Teeny tiny things
are attracted to other
teeny tiny things
that they're really close to. And once they touch, you're probably not going to get them apart. This is why geckos can walk on glass. Watch a video about it. I think geckos are cool. So once a microscopic particle, whether it's a respiratory aerosol or asbestos or a mold spore, makes contact with one of the fibers in a respirator, it's not going anywhere. Here you can see some bits of yuck stuck on N95 fibers in a video from Sci-Inspi. So the goal of an N95 respirator is to get the particles to hit a fiber before they can pass through to the other side. Bigger particles travel in a straight line and are pretty much guaranteed to hit a fiber and get stuck.
Teeny tiny particles
Travel in a wild zigzag motion because they're bouncing off of air molecules, and they are pretty much guaranteed to hit a fiber and get stuck. The tricky medium 0.3 micron particles, The fibers actually have an electrostatic charge that attracts particles of all sizes like a magnet, and that's how they get these trickier particles with 95% effectiveness. So, no, trying to block a virus with a respirator is not like trying to block a mosquito with a wooden fence. Any respirator is better than nothing, but remember, it's only as reliable as the seal around the edges, which a lot of people don't realize, so we're going to talk about that soon.
Wow, Lola, thank you. That was a very thorough and helpful explanation. I understand how respirators work now.
You're welcome.